This is our little online studio, and
This is
then
cool.
yeah, it's really nice. It's been really good for us so far. So there we go. We're live now,
Sweet.
and what's cool about the studio too is like, I don't know if it shows up on your end, but at the top you can see that it says uploading next to recording,
Oh
and
yeah.
it like literally uploads our audio as we're doing it. So when the show ends, we don't have to wait forever for all of it to upload. It does it while. So there's been a lot of good things that has
Yeah.
come from this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been
That's
great.
really awesome.
Let me send out my little tweet,
Hmm.
Oh my gosh,
and
there we
then
are.
yeah, do you see us on the?
I pulled up a feed just in case there's chat. I don't know if you interact with your chat at all while you're
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah. Normally we end up getting it on Facebook, not YouTube. But
Gotcha.
I've got my iPad with both
Nice.
both open.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm okay, cool. Sorry if I was distracted. There you go. Yeah, I
Okay.
just pulled mine up and then I had the audio up, so I was very confused about who was talking where. So I just sorry if I looked like I was like, oh. um, well, yeah, we're super excited to have you on.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm excited.
Is your name is listed as Alyssa? Is that what you most commonly go by?
Yeah, particularly for opera, Alyssa is my name.
Okay.
Yeah, on
Eh,
Twitch I tell people they can either call me by my Twitch name or Alyssa. So
That's great. Cool.
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll mainly call you Alyssa, but we I know I said a little bit in the email, but yeah, we have the quiz looks great. I briefly glanced at the questions because I didn't want to get too much like ahead. It looks awesome.
Okay,
Hmm.
cool.
And we'll do a little intro of who you are and let you talk about any aspect of what you do with your life. But yeah, when we get into the quiz, obviously you can talk about whatever you want, but
Cool.
we're gonna be focusing on the opera aspect of it.
Yeah, I tried to frame it. I'm like it's so broad, but I tried to frame it in a way of thinking about what are things I think are really obvious, but that I realize that people who aren't in the industry don't realize, and how can I
Hmm.
sprinkle that in? So it's like, here's an intro to opera. It's cool and it's not scary, I promise.
That's great. That's great. And that already makes me feel better because like John and we'll talk more about it when we're doing the podcast, but like I have so little knowledge of opera, and I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm scared of opera, but I like that you have an understanding of like, yeah, this is especially younger people probably don't have as much of a connection to
Yeah.
opera, and so that
Yeah.
you're willing to educate and open the door to everyone. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and look, if we assuming we don't scare you away and we all get along, like we could have you back for another episode and we can
Yeah, I'd
cover
love
other
that.
things or do deeper dive into specific opera things. So like just know that um, there'll be more opportunities if we're
Oh yeah.
looking for them. So
Yeah, I love it. Listen, I'm hard to scare and I podcasts. I
cool.
earlier I feel like earlier this year, maybe last year, I was going totally stir crazy as we all were. And I was like, podcast. I just want to be on a podcast.
Good.
So
Well, we are our arms are wide open for this
Yep.
kind of thing, and very cool that Grayson was able to put us in touch. And
Hmm.
yeah,
he's,
he's the
it's
best.
funny. John has never met Grayson. He just knows
Nope.
of Grayson as my coworker, and he and I have because the way our shifts work is I end up spending about an hour in the room with him, just talk, just chit chatting, and he's become almost like an outside producer of this podcast.
That's
Like he's
awesome.
and he's not he as assuming you know him decently, he's not doing it in a way of trying to have control. He just genuinely
Yeah.
like he's a fan and he wants to give us ideas, and he's like, take what you want, I don't care,
Yeah.
but this is so yeah,
No, he's
he's been great.
awesome. He's
He's
really
our
awesome.
log historian as well.
Our log historian, yeah, we're the log lack of genius. That's why the log microphone, and yeah, he's
I
our
love
log
it.
historian. He keeps the log is what he does. So
That's I love
um
that. I love it. That's awesome.
yeah, okay, so just to give you a quick rundown of the format, I'll play a little a little intro song. We'll chit chat for a little bit, and then we'll go into what we call our tidy up section,
Okay.
and so that's got a little song that kicks it off, and then we'll jump into it. And usually when we tidy up, it's like our chance to like fix any errors from episodes or things that like little events that we have going on. one thing I wanted to run by you, this was actually a Grayson suggestion. We've never done this before. I guess we're going to call it a mental health check-in, but where today we're going to answer 2 questions. And if you'd like to participate, you can, no pressure. But the 2 questions are just, what's one thing you did for yourself this week? And what's one victory that you had this week? Just kind of as a reminder to reflect on the positive things in our life. So, I know that's kind of a curveball to throw at you last minute, but we could just have we're going to do it in a very, do you want to participate in that part of it?
Yeah, no, totally. I'm
Okay.
like, ooh, what's something I did for myself? Acquire the thing, but that's not as good for audio mediums as visual. So.
Oh yeah, well, we can be descriptive. But yeah, even if you tell us about it, whatever you see fit. Or, we may do this down the line, so I'm more saying this to myself and to John, but like, even if it's something like, you know what, I didn't do very much for so here's what I'm going to do this week for myself. Like it was I think it's a great idea that Grayson gave us, and just like a good chance to recognize, like, let's look out for ourselves a little bit and make sure we're being healthy. So
I love that.
So tidy up will happen, and then we'll play one more jingle. It's our quiz time jingle, and then that's when we'll toss it to you and start asking the questions. And John and I will each take, like, you'll ask the question, and then we'll each give our answers, and we'll keep a tally. And it doesn't really matter who wins, but that's part of the fun of it too.
But it really matters.
It does matter. Yeah, we have a lot of pride on the line. So
listen, I understand. As someone who, like, my job comes with competitiveness. Someone's got to win.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Like literally getting apart, right?
I mean, yeah. Do you want me to read off the multiple choice answers, or are you looking at them too?
Yeah. Why don't you read them off? So we'll have you read the question and the choices, and then every now and then I'll like repeat the choices just for the listener. But yeah, we'll have you read them off initially, and then we'll go from there.
That's good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Trying to think if there's anything else. You feel good, John?
Yeah.
I feel good. Alyssa, you feel good?
Yeah.
That's the new sweater I think I just saw on Instagram, right? What is it? The Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah,
Was it Alice in Wonderland? What was it? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I mean, if you see behind me over there, I've got my Cheshire cat. There's like Alice stuff everywhere, as well as all my other like nerd stuff surrounding me. But
oh my gosh, well, maybe we're gonna have you on to quiz us on Alice in Wonderland. Then we got a plethora of subjects to potentially go down.
I would say the biggest one, if you can see, is all my Keyblades, because I'm a Kingdom Hearts maniac.
Oh,
you mean going down a rabbit hole, Kevin?
Yes, thank you. Yes, well done, John. Well done. All right. Well, looks like we got you. You're a woman of many interests, and that's fantastic. So, glad to know you right off the bat. And
thanks, y'all too.
Cool. This is very exciting. I'm glad we appreciate your enthusiasm. I say we just dive in then. Are you all ready?
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll hit the jingle and we'll go from there. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. That was anticlimactic. Why didn't it start? Let's try that again.
Are you set to live?
I am in live. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Nope. What? Okay, let me play something else. Okay, so here's a fun note, Alyssa. I just said this last week. I was like, we should keep track of how many times I do that 3, 2, 1 countdown, and it actually works.
Doesn't work.
Because it basically never works. All right, I'm going to play a clapping sound that hopefully we'll hear. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, let me go to preview. Okay, okay, here we go. This should do it. I'm going live. We're loading. I'm literally just waiting for it to load. So
it's trying really
hard. Are your sounds live, John? I know. It is trying hard. There's a little circle and it's saying,
yeah, that's how mine is.
Yeah, so weird. Well, I can use the other machine that I have. How about we do that? Yeah. Let's just, and if yours goes live in time, John. Hi, baby. By the way, this is Stella. This is my girl. She may, and then I also have Coconut in the background here. They may go crazy at various points in the podcast, and we're used to that. Okay, I'm gonna hit it on this machine because this is not working. So here we go, for reals this time. In 3, 2, 1. John, like second, lives in Indiana, you know. Kevin likes the Dodgers and talks on the radio. John plays games on Xbox and on his Nintendo, while Kevin runs around LA with his mustachio. It's the Lack of Genius podcast, in your ear holes at last. They don't know they're Mars from Venus, that's why it's the Lack of Genius podcast. All right, John.
Hey, Kevin.
It's good to see you. This is the first time I've ever played that jingle where I'm a little bit like nervous about sharing my vocal skills, because we have someone who is far better at singing than I today, and this is very exciting for us. As they say, without further ado, let's just bring her in. This is Alyssa. Alyssa, hello. It's good to see you.
Hello. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we were just on a little pre-show talking about it, but we so appreciate your enthusiasm and your willingness to be here, and we're streaming live, and this is all very exciting. Alyssa is, well, here, let me fill you in on something, Alyssa. One of the reasons that I like having guests on this particular podcast is because you're the one quizzing us, because we're the only podcast that makes the guests do work. Because you're quizzing us, I have to do zero research. Like, the less I know, the better. So I get to kind of play dumb and be like, you know what, Alyssa? I don't know very much about you. I know that you sing opera. I know that you're a Twitcher. I know that you have connection with the LGBTQIA plus community. And all of these things are part of who you are. But I'd love to tell us who you are, what your role here is today. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, well, so my primary thing, and the reason we're here today, is that I am a professional opera singer. Being professionally for 11, going on 12 years now. Wow. I've sung all over the country. And I also, in this last year, because what better thing to do during the pandemic, started my own opera company, because I'm a little bit salty about how the industry is going. And I was like, I'm going to fix it. So I do a lot of producing, performing. I kind of have my hand in all sorts of things. And I also am pretty well versed in a lot of different genres. So I've done some musical theater, cabaret type things. I do opera, I do concerts, I do art songs, if that means anything to y'all.
Nope, nothing. Don't know what an art song is.
Nope.
But it's beautiful. I love hearing this.
Yeah, and I also do a lot of work with living composers, and it's one of my favorite things to work on new pieces and create something totally new. I do too many things, some might say.
Yeah, well, I can connect to that. It sounds like you have a lot of creative energy and a lot of music in your heart and skills to share with the world. Starting a production company for opera, that's insane in the best way possible. I think probably a lot of people I can relate. I think a lot of us can relate to sort of, we've grown up in this world where we have to work for the quote unquote man, we're progressing into hopefully even working for the woman at times, which is awesome. I love that. But in this corporate world that we live in, it's like, God, there's so much red tape and BS that goes on in our industries. So how can we do this on our own? How can we fix it? So I really applaud what you're doing. That's a huge step, and very impressive.
Thanks.
11 or 12 years of opera singing and I know we have questions that you're going to ask us in a quiz, and I don't want to spoil anything. I think my questions are a little more geared towards you. Like, did you always love singing, and then at what point did it turn into, wait a minute, I can knock out this opera style pretty good? Or, tell us about that journey.
So basically, since, the joke is always like, oh, she came out of the womb singing, but like kind of literally. I grew up in a household where there was always music playing, where everyone was always singing. My grandmother actually was a huge, huge opera fan, and it was like the proudest thing ever for her to be like, God gave me an opera singer as a granddaughter. My life is complete, which is
oh my gosh,
the sweetest
you
thing
were
to me.
Golden child right off the bat. That's great.
Basically. So I grew up hearing all sorts of music. My mom was a huge Beatles fan and also a huge Broadway fan. And so like all sorts of music I grew up hearing. And the second I was old enough to get on the stage, I was like, let me get up. It's where I'm meant to be. I'm this, like, since I was a little kid, this huge, eccentric, loud, tiny thing. There's some really funny pictures of me in elementary school where I'm like a head and a half shorter than everybody else, but it's clear that I have like 10 times more energy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
Um,
funny because I bet you saw yourself as like the same size as that you saw. You're like, yeah, but yeah, really, you were looking up to them. Um,
Basically. I
yeah,
mean, I was physically looking up to them, but like
exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but really, they were looking up to
they
you.
look
They were
to
like,
me.
look at her.
but but
Yeah.
yeah, I've been performing since I was able to. But when I was in middle school, I got into anime and a lot of Japanese culture, and I was like, I'm gonna become a J-pop star. This is my goal in life. And I
Wow.
went into high school, and I was like, I'm still gonna be. Yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move to Japan. I'm gonna become a huge star. And obviously, that did not happen.
Yes. It is
Throughout
not
high
too late,
school,
Alyssa. It's not too late, is all I'm saying. Like we can make this. This is still a reality. It's still a possible
listen,
reality.
I would not be upset about that.
Good.
But I
Well, you're a person.
remember.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead. I'd love to hear what you're saying.
Just saying. So as I went through high school, a lot of different things. I went to performing arts high school. I had phenomenal training. I'm so grateful to my choir teacher because I learned all of my basic theory band. But as I went through the choir program, I sort of got more and more frustrated that when we were in our a cappella group and we were doing pop stuff, I was never getting this. I'm not getting the solos in this. But in all the
Hmm.
classical music in our choir, like everyone got mad at me because I got every single solo in that. And I was like, first of all, don't at me because you're not auditioning for them. But second of all, I guess I'm good at this.
And this was literally probably before people could even at you, and you were saying, "Don't at
Accurate.
me."
Accurate. Yeah, that's definitely a perfect representation of what I said,
Yeah.
15 years ago. but, but then the summer between my junior and senior year of high school, I ended up doing Pirates of Penzance by Gilbert and Sullivan, and I sang the lead, and it was this magical experience of like the people I was around were amazing, and I was like, oh, like this environment is awesome. On top of me being like, oh, I'm
Mm,
good at this.
wow.
And humorously enough, as I've gotten older and have gone through all my training, now I can sing pop music. But
How funny.
how
Yep.
oh no, it's hot garbage. It was so bad.
How about that? Well, you had muscles to strengthen still, and you had things to learn, and that's pretty amazing. I think a lot of us spend a lot of time kind of exploring different things and trying to find what it is that not only we feel like we're good at, but like we really enjoy the environment of, and that's
Yeah.
very cool that you were able to find that at that time and continue to rock that career and that path.
Mhm.
So good,
Yeah.
great job, good for you.
Yeah,
And Alyssa, the name of your company is Paradox Opera, right?
that speaking of the Pirates of Penzance, the inspiration for the name comes one of the most famous numbers from that show. And so
That's
it's
what I
like
was wondering.
put it all together. The listeners can't hear this, but here's our logo. I'm very proud of it.
Oh, that's cool. It's
Yeah.
it's a paradox opera. The X is right in the middle, so it's got that symmetry. That's a great looking logo.
Yeah.
We'll make sure when the episode goes live, we'll
I'll send you
we'll
stuff.
share all this. Yeah, please send us stuff. We'll get it out there for people. We'll talk more about opera as we get into the quiz, but let's tidy some things up first. You feel good about that?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, let's do it. Here's our jingle.
Tidy up before we go any further with the show. Tidy up before we go fix our mistakes tonight. I wanna get it right. Tidy up.
I literally had a moment where I was like, I just want to pull this down. I don't want it to get to the high notes. I don't want her to hear any. I was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? No, that's our tidy up jingle. So,
I love it.
Maybe we can get her to record it for you.
yeah, we're gonna have you redub all my vocals, and you'll be our new log vocalist. So we're gonna do something new here very quickly though.
Yeah.
We're doing Alyssa, you're probably not aware of this, but we're doing it's not a March Madness bracket, it's a month before April tournament bracket for copyright reasons, and we have loggers, as we call our fans, who are participating in this, and whoever wins is actually gonna get the first ever Lack of Genius t-shirt. We don't even have t-shirts yet, and somebody is going to win one before us. So, John, you had a quick check-in on some of our results right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, last night was pretty brutal for pretty much everyone.
Yeah, as of recording this.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one number 1 seed team left, and that would be Kansas. Gonzaga lost last night. I know Purdue wasn't ranked number 1, but Purdue lost. I know a lot of people on my wife's side of the family are upset about that.
John's in Indiana, yeah. So there's a strong Purdue connection over there.
Yeah, I always joke about giving, like we do, my wife's family does a Purdue white elephant gift exchange at Christmas.
They're into it.
Yeah, I always joke about bringing an IU thing or an Ohio State thing.
One of these years is going to happen, and you'll get shunned from the family. Like, John is not
welcome
anymore.
I mean, and I can claim Ohio State because that's where my mom's from. But but yeah, right now we've got Brooke in the lead with 55, and then Shannon, and then Jeff.
Bravo to those three for their random picking skills. Yeah. Well done.
I mean, and there is no way for me to win, but Kevin, if the stars align,
yes,
you could go from 7th place to 1st. You still have that chance.
I could win the log t-shirt. Is that what you're telling me? No, I'm ineligible. I'm ineligible for the t-shirt. Yes, but I have a chance for the bragging rights.
You do still have a chance. So.
All right, so there we go. So we'll have a better update for that, and we're excited to give away a t-shirt. The new thing we're gonna try, I guess for now, we're gonna call it our mental health check-in of the week, and this is just a reminder to reflect on our weeks and think about some good things that maybe happen. And Alyssa has agreed to participate with us, which is awesome. We're very excited about that. So we're each gonna answer 2 questions. We're gonna answer, what is one thing you did for yourself this week? And we're going to answer, what is one victory you had from this week? Maybe they're the same thing. Maybe they're different. I'm certainly not. The thing that I like about this is you can get as vulnerable as you want or as unvulnerable as you want. I will be mildly vulnerable here and share that one thing I did for myself this week is I went to therapy. And I hadn't gone for most of this year. And I just started with a new therapist last week. And I went this week, had a very good session. I was having a rough start to my week, and that really turned the page for me and really got me on a good track. So that's one good thing I did for myself this week, and I'm happy to share it here. So I'd love to hear your answers. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
And actually kind of in the same vein as you, Kevin, I didn't go see a therapist, but I went to the doctor and got medicine for depression. And started taking that. So
John, oh, my heart. Good for you, man. And you feeling good? You feeling good stepping into this new?
Yeah, I mean, so far, it hasn't really changed anything yet because it could take a few weeks. But
sure, yep. Well, my heart is with you. That's fantastic. I really encourage and support that decision, and thanks for being willing to share that. Yeah. Alyssa, what do we got? What's one good thing you did for yourself this week?
So mine is weird.
Oh, good. We expect nothing less at this point from you, Alyssa. You're earning the good kind of weird title already. This is fantastic.
So I have joked over the last several weeks or months, as we've all kind of been going through it, and I've had a bit of a rough patch. And in the deepest depths of my descent into madness, I discovered my love for cursed Furbies.
Cursed Furby? I know what a Furby is. What is a cursed Furby? She's holding oh my god, it looks like a snake with a weird Furby face. So it looks like a cursed Kirby. It looks like a demonic sort of devil creature Furby. Oh my god.
So,
tell me about this.
This is just one of them, but I may have this is a small one here that if you're watching you can see, but particularly I have discovered a love for long Furbies, and when I say long, I mean 5 to 6 feet long, like than me, and I may have bought 2 of them, and they arrived this week, and I have affectionately called them my emotional support Furbies. And
Amen.
have given myself the title Lord of the Long Furbs, and no regrets.
I may have just forgotten that your name is actually Alyssa, and you're now Lord of the Long Furbs only to me. So just
Hey, can you wear them like a boa and just wear them the next time you're on stage?
Yes.
That's great. That sounds like a great. You treated yourself this week, and you got the emotional support you needed from those fantastically weird creatures.
Exactly.
We'll do a round of one victory from this week. Gosh, you know what I did this week? I can't remember if this was this week or last week. I'm gonna call it a victory because I tried something new, and it was rollerblading both of my dogs. I have rollerblades. I've rollerbladed one of my dogs, and it's crazy and scary. I tried with both, and it did not go well. Luckily, I didn't eat it. I had pads on and everything, so I was well taken care of. But they were pulling in different directions. They were going crazy. I was out for like 4 minutes, and I said, nope. You know what? I learned my lesson. I can rollerblade one dog at a time, and I'm glad that I tried it. I'm going to call that a victory from my week.
You got to work up to it.
Gonna work up to it. Yeah, we're gonna build up.
That sounds terrifying, but I'm glad you survived.
Maybe get a tricycle first, so you can't fall over.
That's much. Yeah, you're right. In fact, yep, that's gonna have to happen. Yeah, good suggestion.
Work your way up to a dog sled in L.A.
Yeah, I'll be the weird guy on the tricycle with a pack of dogs just pulling me. I'm like, hey everyone.
Probably not
John?
the weirdest thing in L.A.
No, far from it. Far from it. Yeah.
As far as victory goes, I think probably the same thing as, something I did for myself. That was something that I've been needing to do for a while, and I'm an advocate for, mental health and getting other people help, and I finally stopped neglecting mine, so.
That's awesome, man. You took a big step. That is a big victory. Yep. A round of applause. In fact, oh no, our sound isn't working. Otherwise, I'd play a clapping sound effect for you. Huge victory. Alyssa, do you have a victory from your week you want to share?
I do. This is less weird. So I, as we briefly mentioned before, have started my own opera company. And this week I have written and sent out our first round of contracts for our first show. And a business person, like I'm good at it, but it does not bring me joy. And so it's done. I sent them out. I feel so official. And I was just like, yes, I'm so proud of myself. We're doing things. We're making art. Yes. So,
good for you. That's awesome. Those little victories when it comes to like starting a new endeavor all turn into big victories. They all add up. And so that's great. And what a great transition, because you're talking about opera and we can get into our opera quiz. Ready to do this?
Let's do
that
it.
Jingle. Here we go.
It's time to take a quiz or two. Like a genius podcast doing this for you. You may fail, but it ain't no lie, baby, it's quiz time. Don't really want this quiz to be tough. I just want to pass one cause I failed enough. It might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby, it's quiz time.
Yes, and Alyssa doing the bye dance moves, which is fantastic, which is what we couldn't ask more of a guest really than that. Yeah. So Alyssa, before we hand over the reins to you, a quick I thought we'd do a quick, so I said this on the pre-show, maybe I didn't actually, I think I said this to John off the air, that my knowledge of opera is extremely minimal. I guess my connection to opera would be that every time I'm watching Jeopardy and the opera category comes up, I go 0 for 5 every single time. So I feel somewhat unprepared for this quiz, but I am so excited to learn. I want to be cultured. I want to be connected to this, and your enthusiasm already, Alyssa, has made me very eager and excited to learn. John, you were saying you have some opera experience. What
I
were
do.
You saying?
Yeah. I back in college at Manchester. Our choir director, she would every January would put on an opera workshop type deal. And sometimes it was one opera, other times it would just be scenes from different operas. And so I've sang in the chorus of a few of them. And I played the old dead guy in Johnny Skiki.
Oh, yeah, a role you were born to play.
Playing a dead guy is surprisingly hard.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Because you can't fall asleep. And you just got to lay there and be still and do nothing.
I've never done that, but I believe you 10,000%. Yeah.
No, pretending to be asleep or dead on stage, honestly, is the hardest thing because it's true. You're just take a nap. No, you cannot do that.
Oh, wow. I bet you there are horror stories from people who did fall asleep. I bet
I'm
that's a
sure.
common thing.
There's gotta
Um,
be.
So John's got a little knowledge. I have very little, but what we've learned in the past is that makes no difference on how we do on these quizzes. It might this time.
Right.
But Alyssa, we're very grateful to have Alyssa here, who is a professional opera singer. And you can preface however you'd like, but otherwise I'll hand the reins over to you, and we can jump into to these 5 questions we have.
All right, let's do it. Well, first of all, I have to a couple of the questions, really only 2 of them. I intentionally made it a little tricksy, but
Okay,
That's
good to know.
fine.
We'll be prepared then. It'll be fun.
we're gonna start with since this is such a broad thing and something that I know isn't the front face of everybody's radar. Question number 1, plain and simple. What is opera? So, here are our 4 options. A staged drama set to music in its entirety, made only instrumental pieces. B, a staged drama set to music with some dialogue interspersed pieces with instrumental accompaniment.
Oh.
A large group of people screaming over an orchestra. Or D, a stage to music in its entirety, made up of vocal pieces with instrumental accompaniment.
Oh my gosh, Alyssa, this is crazy. I love it. I love it. All right, so if technically C is true, a large group of people screaming over an orchestra, well, we get half credit if that's the right answer. That's a great answer. What are your thoughts, John?
I'm going with D.
Yeah, it would appear. Well, go ahead. What are your thoughts on that?
As I knock everything over on my desk. No, I mean B. It would be a musical, and D is an opera.
Oh, that's very good. That's very good. In fact, I think maybe I should have gone first, so that you didn't spoil the answer for me. I think I would have chosen D regardless. But yeah, what I'm seeing is the main difference between B and D is that B includes set to music with some dialogue interspersed, whereas D says drama set to music in its entirety. I think that is the key phrase. So I'm gonna choose D as well, John. We're both choosing D.
Yeah?
Is that right?
Yep.
Ding, ding,
Okay, how
ding.
we do?
You are both correct.
All right. Yeah.
So as John said, the part of why I put that in is yes. So an opera is fully sung through, and a musical or an operetta, or there are some German operas called a Singspiel, it's the same thing as an operetta, also
Great
have
word.
dialogue interspersed. But that's basically the biggest difference is just everything is sung through.
That's
So,
great.
yeah.
You've already enlightened me because I don't think I would. I think in theory I would have known that. Yeah, it's all but I don't know that I would have known that for sure. So I already feel so much more cultured just after one question.
I know. Yeah. So in opera, traditional opera, there are moments where there are parts of the story that you would think would be dialogue, but rather than spoken, it's called a recitative or recitativo, and it's this different style of singing that's more conversational. It's more like it's not as melodic. You're just kind of talking, but you're still singing.
Got it.
Makes it
Got it.
an opera.
Yeah. That is very cool. That is very cool. And well, okay, yeah. I'll hold off on this question because it'll probably give us more. But that is fantastic knowledge. Like I said, I'm feeling good already. So we're both 1 for 1 to start, which is fantastic.
Heck yeah. Also,
you ready to?
Yeah. Before we go on, something else to note as
Please.
well for the biggest difference. I know because everyone's always like, oh, operas and like musical theater, they're so different. I'm like, they're like kind of the same thing. The biggest difference really is just that the style of singing and the way that we produce our voice. In opera, we do not use microphones. All of the amplification comes from our bodies and the way that we sing. And in more contemporary musical theater, you'll use microphones. So the style and the technique of singing is a little bit different, but also generally just like good technique is good technique. But it's the way that you produce the sound that is another big difference between the styles.
Do you personally find one more, I don't know what the right way to ask this, but more difficult than the other or more challenging, or even which do you prefer between musical theater and opera?
So they're simultaneously so different and so similar. For me, I they're differently challenging. I do both, and I have a deep love for both. I'm very much someone who's like, no, I love it all. Like, let's do it all. Again, there's different techniques that make musical theater challenging and opera challenging. Your voice in different ways, so there are different things. But I think that in both of those different styles, there's so many opportunities to dig deep in, sort of peel back the layers and reach people deeply to their core in ways that you can't in just talking to them. Or I'm like, it's part of what I'm so passionate about this art form is I feel like music and musical theater of all varieties, it can tap into people in just a totally different way, in a much deeper way. And I love getting to do things that like will make people think in a different way. They'll have experiences that they could never have imagined that they could have had. Even like maybe have an experience of catharsis that they didn't know that they needed, anything like that. It's a really cool thing.
It's art. You're like you said, that's great. Go ahead, John.
And Kevin, a question for you is when you think of opera, what do you think? Like what kind of style of story is it?
What kind of style of story?
That's a great question.
I don't even know how to answer that. I guess the imagery coming to head is kind of like old school, like European, I think the cliche is right, the fat lady, right? Like a large woman with white makeup on her face, just saying, like, that's the image that, I think that's the stereotypical image of opera.
Well, but like dramatic, and things like that, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I would typically think like usually dramatic, either love or tragedy kind of stories, but I'm guessing that it runs the gamut.
Oh, it does. Like the one where I played the dead guy, Johnny Skiki. That one is just pure comedy. Like the guy dies, and then the rest of the family are trying to find the will so they can change it to make it better for them. And so it's just this frantic scene. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of comedy, so that's why I think that's why you're asking me this question. And for others who aren't as familiar with opera, it's not just sappy love story every time, or however you might want to describe it.
No, there's so much comedy. I just a couple of months ago sang in a production of The Barber of Seville by Rossini, which is hysterical. And funnily, my roommate came to see it, and he was excited because I was in it, and he supports me, and he loves the arts. But the first thing he said to me afterwards was, "Oh my God, I was laughing hysterically. It just didn't process that opera can be funny." I was like, yeah, there's so much of that.
Well, and Pirates of Penzance is a pretty funny one too.
Hysterical. I love comic opera. That's a huge joy of mine.
It feels like we're breaking down barriers. You're right. I never would put the words opera and funny deliberately in the same sentence. And that's not only is it a thing, it's something a common thing. Awesome. Yeah. We're moving along, man. Because in a good way, I feel so out of the loop on what's going on, and just because John has his knowledge, and Alyssa, you're very, very, very knowledgeable, and I love it. I'm the lucky one that I get to learn all this. So let's move forward with the learning, shall we? Should we get into number 2?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So this is a true or false.
Let's do it.
So.
Oh yes, 50-50.
Question number 2. Operas are written in many different languages. If I don't understand the language, I can still enjoy and understand the show. True or false?
Kevin?
I love this question. I love this question. I mean, look, I think I have to choose true, that yes, even though it's in a different language, I can still enjoy and understand the show. Yeah, because I would guess that, I hesitated when I said understand, because I'm thinking, okay, I don't understand the language. Will I understand the show? I have a feeling that through the acting, through the scenes, through the emotions felt, that I can still understand the show. So I'm going to choose true.
I'm going to say true too.
All right. How do we do?
You are both correct, but
nice.
For different reasons than you stated. This is why I included this question. Because it was recently brought to my attention through the same story. Actually, my roommate coming to see my show a couple months ago. Operas have subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
What? How?
This is a very normal thing. And I realized that people don't, I'm sorry, I'm punching my microphone. People don't know this.
No,
and I'm
I
like,
have
wait, what?
I have no clue.
Depending on like I know in some theater, like opera houses, they've got little screens in front of, like on the back of the seat in front of you,
What?
So depending on the theater, so if you're
or
at
in the
Metro
program.
Opera, you're very bougie, you've got them on the seat. But every opera house, every single opera house, if you're going to see an opera, above the stage there will be a little bar, and they project what we call super titles above the stage. So no matter what
Wow.
language they're singing in, you can read them. I
Do you like
realized,
how
yeah.
do you like how I tried to get all artsy with it, like, oh, the emotion, which is probably true. I know that's not BS,
Yeah.
but but you can literally understand what's going on because of the
Mhm.
captions.
Yeah, and I really wanted to talk about this because
Yep.
mind realizing that people know this because it's so
Oh.
normal to us. It's common
Mhm.
knowledge to us. Of course, there are super titles because like we do that.
Yeah.
And realizing that that's not a piece of information that most people have. I'm like, "Oh, hold on. We need to like scream and shout about this."
Totally.
Like barriers coming to opera for the first time is not
Yeah.
realizing that it's easy to digest.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, even in my sort of brief definition of superficially what is an opera, I said European, some kind of typically some kind of foreign language. And so I think you're right. This is a huge barrier to go over. I also would like to add that when you first said that they are captioned, what came to my mind was that they hand out like Tony Stark glasses, and then you can read the captions come up as you're reading them. That's the next element. Maybe that's
I
something your
see.
company can put the investment into. And
I think you need to invent that now.
yeah, you're right. Yep, this is my project. It's all me.
Oh my gosh.
That super informative. What did you have anything you wanted to add, John, or any experience?
Well, I
with
mean,
that?
I know the Met in New York, they like with AMC movie theaters and stuff, you can actually go like 1 week in a month and actually see a production. And I think they put the subtitles on that as well. So
Correct.
Kevin, if you ever wanted to go see an opera from the Met, I think you even get to see like the behind the scenes and stuff, and so.
Well, I was just gonna say we're only 2 questions in, and I already am like, all right, I'm committing to go do an opera. Like this is my homework for this for sure. And because it sounds fun, it doesn't sound like homework. It sounds like it would be
Well,
something very cool and enjoyable.
I mean, the fact that you live in LA, there's probably a decent opera house that you could go to.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would guess so.
several. I mean, you could go to LA Opera, you could go to a smaller company, Pacific Opera Project. You should see if they've got anything going on because they put on hilarious, fabulous, like contemporary reimaginings of shows. They're really cool. And I know they're based in
Oh.
LA. You should check them out.
Well,
Oh,
and I
good
know,
suggestion.
I know some will actually take it from either the Italian or the French or the German and put it in English as well.
Oh, got it. They'll
so-
actually translate it. Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Nice. Well, I'm glad I got it's going to be a bucket list thing to check off. So you're moving hearts, changing minds, moving hearts. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but let's keep learning. Number 3, right?
All right, number 3. Now, this is sort of out of left field, but I thought this was interesting. So, question number 3. According to a 2016 census by Opera Base, what is the most frequently performed opera in the world?
Wow.
A. La Bohème by Puccini. B. La Traviata by Verdi. C. The Magic Flute by Mozart. Or D. Carmen by Bizet.
Excellent pronunciation, I assume, but I love the little rolling R's and that's good. John, don't answer yet. Do you have any knowledge of this?
I mean, I know all 4 of them.
Okay, I don't.
And I like La Bohème is what Rent is based off of.
Oh, cool.
It's a very similar storyline. In fact, Rent even has the song "La Vie Bohème."
Oh, dang, John! Look at man. Hang on, wait a minute. I think that's good enough for a
Knowledge bomb.
That's a John knowledge bomb if I ever heard one right there. that is a random fact that is just very impressive that you just pulled out.
Well, I mean, and here's a very nerdy fact. The movie version of Rent. The guy that was the photographer, he actually is on Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, nice. Yes.
And his husband in Discovery played Angel in the theater version of Rent.
Wow, So it's all they got a full and you know this, John. Is it? Do you
Yep.
want that to be your knowledge bomb? You're like, no,
Hey.
that's not. You're like, that's not even the tip of the iceberg of what I know. That's very impressive, John. Excellent fact there.
But I can't
okay.
tell you if that's the most frequently performed opera, though. Like, I know Carmen is a big, like, they're all four big.
I would say this is a little mean because they are the top 4.
Yeah.
Okay,
What-
good to know.
Well,
That's
and
cool.
like, Magic Flute gets referenced in Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
Like, they're essentially putting on, like, that play that they're creating is the Magic Flute.
Oh, got it. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. So I've heard of the Magic Flute. Luckily, I know who Puccini, Verdi, and Mozart are. What is the last name? Is it pronounced Bizet or Bizet?
Bizet.
Yeah.
How do you-
Bizet.
Bizet. And I've heard of Carmen. I just would not have been able to name who it was by. I personally will tell you what I'm going to choose, and it's only actually I don't really have a solid reason. I just Verdi popped out to me. Verdi is the name that popped out to me, so I'm going to choose B, La Traviata by Verdi. And then yeah, John, what do you think you're going to go with?
I think I'm just gonna go with D, just because I like Carmen better.
Okay, so you're
I like
going
the
with
music.
D. All right, so maybe we'll see if one of us got it right. How do we do, Alyssa?
Kevin, you are correct.
Yeah, sorry, John.
Yeah.
Woo, Kevin knows his opera.
I have to say, I was surprised that Traviata beat the others out, but part of the reason I wanted to include this is I personally think La Traviata is a really good first opera for people if you're looking for an introduction to Italian opera because it's short.
Oh yeah,
it
short.
Runs, yeah, you know, people think operas are like 4 or 5 forever hours long. Some are, but Traviata, which is the most performed opera in the world, at least according to that census at the time, it typically runs under 2.5 hours. You'll definitely know some of the music because the drinking chorus is used in popular media all the time. You've definitely heard it. The Lipiamo, yeah. Everyone's
that was
heard
so good. We got that was just a little glimmer. That was so good. But yes, that is very recognizable.
So, you know, that comes in real quick at the beginning of the show. So immediately, even if you've never seen an opera before, you're going to hear something that you're familiar with. And then the plot moves at a good clip. It's drama, but it's still, I think it's a really engaging and good first show, especially in Italian opera. So it's like, I think this is good. I mean, all of them, honestly, they all sort of cover different things. They're all great shows to see, but I'm a huge fan of a first Traviata because it moves, it's familiar music, and, you know, we like having a good short evening if it's intimidating.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially to get somebody to kind of dip their toe in for the first time. That's a great way to do it.
Exactly.
So, do you happen to have the order in front of you?
Let me grab it 'cause I can find that.
I'm just curious as to what the order is now.
Yeah.
So this was according to this 2016-2017 census, but let me pull it up and I will get the order.
Because I mean, Kevin, you would probably recognize some of the music from Carmen as well.
Okay.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, you know the habanero for sure.
Yeah.
That's not my role. I don't know the words, but
Yeah, got it. Yep, very recognizable though. Yeah.
But yeah, so according to, this is the opera base list. So it was Traviata number 1, Carmen number 2, Magic Flute number 3, Bohème number 4, and Tosca number 5, which is a little upsetting to me because hot take, I don't like Tosca, but don't come for me. Don't come for me, okay?
Don't you at her. Don't you at her.
That is my
friends.
hottest opera take. People get so mad at me, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I just don't care.
Hey.
And for anyone who's curious, 6 was Barber of Seville, which actually is the show that I was referencing that I did a couple months ago. 7 is Rigoletto, also by Verdi. And was it 7? And 8 is Marriage of Figaro by Mozart.
Okay, yeah, I actually recognize some of those titles. All right. That's very cool. And yeah, John, sounds like you got the second most. So you're
I figured it had to be 1 or 2. So
yeah. Wow, phenomenal. This is great stuff. Do you speak another language, Alyssa? Or what was I going to call you again? Lord of the
Lord of the Long Verbs.
Yes,
Yeah,
Lord of the Long Verbs.
I'm like the modern day Daenerys Targaryen. I have so many titles. I'm the Queen of Chaos, the Lord of the Long Verbs. Yeah. I just keep giving myself titles.
I love it. Keep it going. Do you speak any other languages? Did you have to is part of your training learning other languages, having a familiarity?
Yeah, so in my training, I was trained in German and French, as well as I've sung in so many languages, but we did have to take comprehension classes of those three languages along with. So I have a very basic conversational skill in those three languages. My Italian is better than my German and my French because I have a lot of family in Italy and
Oh,
they yell
nice.
at me and get mad that my Italian's not better. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm out of practice. I'm sorry. So sometimes I speak Italian and sometimes I like speak Italian.
Got it. Got it. Well, if you want to tell your family, there's two dudes who did a podcast who heard you say some titles in Italian it sounded beautiful, sounded great. So you tell them you're good. You're good to go.
See, the thing is, we actually we train different separately comprehension and diction. So my diction is impeccable. I teach diction, and that's something I pride myself on. So I can sit and read it, and you'll go, "Wow, she speaks that language." Do I know what I'm saying? No, I gotta look it up.
Got it. Got it. Which kind of makes sense considering you're in a performing arts of those languages, and really the presentation of how it sounds is one of the most important aspects, I would guess. So
Yeah, well, and when you're learning a show, you obviously learn your translations with it, so it becomes ingrained in you both in the language that it's written in as well as in your native language sort of simultaneously, even if you can't just whip out the translation with.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I was in college, like I think all the operas that we sang we translated into English just because it was a student production and students and family coming, nothing, no opera, people are gonna come and grade it. But I know like when I did choir, some of the songs were like in Latin and stuff, and so I know a little Latin because of my science degree, but but you could still learn how to sing the Latin without understanding the Latin.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Man, John, I had no idea you were so cultured in your musical and opera history.
Never said I was a good singer, but
yeah, man, you got some knowledge. I do think I've been trying to get John to sing. We bounced around I guess I haven't been trying that hard, but we did bounce around the idea. I forget if it was your aunt or your grandma. Somebody was suggesting.
It was my uncle.
Yeah, that for our theme song that I sing one line and then John sing the next. I was like, I am down for that. But John was like, no, it sounds better when you do it.
It's my introvertedness.
Yeah, we're gonna get you singing eventually on this podcast. That's my new goal.
I support this.
Yes, good. We'll Alyssa and I will scheme behind the scenes, and eventually, some episode down the line, we'll get you singing. It'll be great.
Maybe provide some vocal coaching first, and then.
I mean, shameless self-promotion. I do teach professionally, so.
Awesome. We'll be sure to do you do mainly in-person teaching, or do you do could theoretically somebody listening to this podcast reach out to Alyssa, the Lord of the God? Why do I keep forgetting the word? Lord of the Furblet. Yeah, the long verbs. Thank you. Could they theoretically get you as a vocal coach if they were looking?
Yeah, so actually, sort of fortunately and unfortunately, because of the pandemic, I have been exclusively teaching online for the last 2 years. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I have found ways to make it work. So I currently have students who are in Texas and who are here and who are all everywhere. So I do still teach in person when I'm able to, but
got it. But you have a lot going on. You got a lot of other projects too, I'm sure. So as you've mentioned, so well, good to know. Good to know.
I'm always open to new students if anyone's interested.
That's great. All right. Well, let's you got two students right here and just learning what opera is. So let's go on to number 4.
Alrighty, number 4. This, if you were paying attention, I sort of accidentally kind of spoiled earlier, but who knows? Maybe you weren't paying attention. Question number 4, another true or false. True or false? New operas are still being written today.
Odds are I was not paying attention, for the record. Just my history on this show is that I miss details all the time.
It's true. He does.
I do. John will have just said something and I'll be like, did I can't remember if you, and then yeah, it's very embarrassing for me. I get to
Listen,
hear myself do that all
if
the
it
time.
makes you feel any better, when I'm streaming, my chat will like quote me 30 seconds after I've said something, and I'll read it and go, "Did I say that? I don't remember saying what. I didn't say that." And lo and behold, I said that.
Did I call myself the Lord of the Long Verbs? I did not. That doesn't sound like me. Well, aside from whether you said it or not, my guess would have been true. In fact, one of the questions I was going to ask you, maybe this is what you said, was if you are someone who writes operas. And I would assume, yes, that operas are written today. What are you saying, John?
I'm saying true.
Okay, we're both saying true.
You are correct.
Nice.
So, no, I do not personally write operas, but a lot of what I specialize in is working with composers and creating new operas. But I think it's really important, I put this in as well, for people to realize that this art form is very much still alive, and that operas are being written today here in English about current events. They're not antiquated stories. There are so many pieces that are being written about what we are experiencing right now today. There's some really incredible pieces that are being written all the time, and some fabulous young composers. And I feel like that's something that I often hear, that people are like, "Oh yeah, well, all composers are dead." Like, what? No. What?
Yeah, that is a very sort of, I guess I'd call it, naive outlook on it's. I mean, I'm trying to think of a comparison. It's like saying because Shakespeare is dead, it's like, oh, all playwrights are dead, but no, like there are modern day versions of all these things. That's very good to know. What's are these you talk about operas that are talking about current events. Are these like mainstream operas that are available, or are most of them kind of like up and coming, and they're trying, they're local and then hoping to expand? Or
Yes and no. There's some of both. There's obviously some very well-known, famous in the opera world composers who are writing works right now, but there's also some younger people who are writing things. There's a whole breadth of things. One of my favorites. Was written. When was this opera written? It's probably like 10 years ago. I can't remember exactly. But if you know the story of the ceasefire on Christmas Eve during World War I, when everyone stopped and played football together, and stopped fighting and sang together, a composer named Kevin Putz wrote an opera called Silent Night that tells that story. And it's spectacular. It actually won a Pulitzer, and it's well deserved, because all of the characters sing in the language that they would actually have been speaking. So it's a multilingual opera. It's stunning. Obviously, that's not current, but it's like, it's an event that we remember. And it's so beautiful. And so Kevin's written a ton of things. He's actually writing a new opera for the Metropolitan Opera right now that I think is scheduled for premiere this season, maybe? I don't remember. Kevin is fabulous. But there's so many names that we don't know, even that I don't know yet, who are writing amazing now.
Well, yeah. I mean, one big one that you may not know the name, but you would know his music, is Stuart Copeland, who is the drummer of the Police.
Oh,
he actually writes operas.
Yeah.
Does he really?
Yeah.
That's
and
pretty cool.
Right before the pandemic started, Manchester did a big thing where they were the collegiate, like the first time it was done by a college of one of his operas. And so
Nice.
I was planning on going to it, but for reasons wasn't able to. But like Stuart Copeland was there and stuff. So
that's awesome.
Well, I have to say, before we even get into the fifth question, like, Alyssa, you've done a great job of really shedding light on things that I think are important and helpful for people to know and digest what opera is in general. I'm not, I'm not just saying it. My eyes are open. I guess in theory, if somebody out of the blue asked me, are they still making operas today? I probably would have said yes, but I wouldn't have had any context. I wouldn't have had this explanation. I wouldn't have, you've really been a great ambassador for the art form already. And so, thanks for opening up some eyes and ears already.
Thank you. I'm so glad. That's my goal. I mean, that's sort of like a general overarching, like is I'm like, hey guys, opera's cool. And also for those of you who are watching, or if you Google me and look at a picture of me, like, also we look like this. Hi, I'm
Yeah.
a small nerd.
Yeah. Yeah, or you're a modern looking person. You look like someone who exists today, not
Yeah.
some again, some fat lady, for lack of a better word, that is sort of this stereotypical version of what people see as opera singers. So yeah, it's very eye-opening. It's very great.
That's also a spectacularly perfect transition to our last question.
Dude, look at that. It's like I planned it.
Well, because exactly this
Oh.
all ties into this, and we'll chat about it once we get through the question. But that is, as you've stated, the biggest stereotype that I think everybody thinks when they think of opera. Oh, it's the fat lady who sings, and this comes from the phrase "It ain't over till the fat lady sings," as well as imagery perpetuated by popular media. But question number 5. What is the origin of the phrase "It ain't over till the fat lady sings"? I went a little hard on these answers, so good luck.
It'll be fun.
A.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Do you have something before I go?
Nope.
Okay. All right. A. The phrase references the end of Verdi's La Traviata, spoiler, which ends with Violetta's final surge of life moments before dying of consumption. Violetta has historically been portrayed by larger singers.
I don't think you can spoil anything that's that old.
Yeah, we've had time.
You never know. B. The phrase originates from the Looney Tunes opera episodes.
Oh my goodness.
This references the end of Wagner's Ring Cycle, which ends with a 20-plus minute scene sung by the Valkyrie Brunhilde, who has historically been portrayed by larger singers.
Wow.
In a review of a production of Berlioz's Les Troyens, this opera is notoriously long, and the reviewer noted his relief when Dido stabs herself and sings of her final vision of Carthage's destruction, signaling the end of the show. Dido is historically portrayed by larger singers.
Oh my God! You know what? This is a good time for this sound effect. Yes, just coming up with this question and those choices alone, very impressive. Because any one of these sounds like it would be a reason, and I assume that unless you've just made up some of these things, like all of them sound like real things that exist in this world. So, great question.
Well, when you were talking earlier, Kevin, about what you pictured when you thought of opera. The big lady with like the helmed, like the horned helmet
horns,
and stuff.
Yeah.
That's you're thinking Brunhilde.
Got it. Interesting. Okay. Does that what am I trying to say? Influence what you're gonna choose, John?
I'm kind of leaning towards that. Like I've heard the reason before, and I'm just trying to remember what it is.
Yeah.
And that one is leaning towards that one.
And that one again is from Wagner's Ring Cycle, which ends with a 20-plus minute scene sung by the Valkyrie Brunhilde, who has historically been portrayed by larger singers.
Right. I mean, and that the flight of the Valkyrie, that dun 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 dun, that's from that.
Yeah.
Hey, that was a little bit of singing. I'm just gonna say that was. I want more, but that was a little bit. Okay, so as you're thinking about that, I'm thinking about what I want to choose. I mean, look, I can be pretty self-deprecating sometimes, and I'm trying to be better about that. I'm prefacing what I'm about to say. I'm trying not to be as self-deprecating, but I am, as a consumer, I do tend to be, ooh, shiny, ooh, fun, ooh, cartoon. So that's why Looney Tunes jumps out to me. It's like, oh, that is a fun answer, and I really want to choose it. Because I do know that, well, I guess I don't know, but I can envision Looney Tunes doing like, I call them parodies of operas. I don't know if that's really where it would have originated from, but it almost wouldn't surprise me. Like I kind of want to go out on a limb and choose that one. So I might. What are you going to choose, John?
I think I'll just stick with C.
You're going to do the Broomhilda one, which is C.
Yep.
Since I put all this energy into it, I'm not going to change it now. So I'm going to choose B, the Looney Tunes one.
Well, John is very correct.
Oh, God, nice job, John. And that's a big for me. I'm I will always choose the cartoon one, just for the record, if anyone's ever making a quiz for me in the future.
Well, part of the reason I included that was very much to throw you off, because it is in part due to the Looney Tunes cartoons that imagery has been perpetuated as the stereotype.
Wow,
So
got
you
it.
have seen that is true.
Got
Yeah,
it.
I
That
think it's
image
with
is.
Bugs Bunny, if memory serves.
Yeah, I can see that as well. Yeah,
There's a
wow,
couple
fascinating.
of them. There's 2 episodes, and there are moments, where they do actually portray specifically that image of Brunhilde from the Ring Cycle. But so, first of all, currently, as you can see, or Google and you will see, that is not true that all opera singers are heavyset Vikings. I am, believe it or not, 5'2" and barely over 100 pounds, and I make a. Can I curse on this podcast?
Yeah, yeah.
I make a metric fuck ton of sound. And it really does not have to do with, the structure of your body. It's purely, you learn technique. It's all about breath support. And whether or not you make mass quantities of sound it doesn't make a difference if you're 100 pounds or 300 pounds. Which, again, I think that it's such a funny thing that this stereotype has been so aggressively perpetuated through popular media, because without fail, when people meet me and find out I'm an opera singer, the first thing out of their mouth is, wait, but you're so small.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, and?
Yeah.
It's just like, it doesn't process.
I mean, and I think same's kind of true on the male side too, because I mean, if you look at like Pavarotti, who is, the big barrel-chested,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not to say, the truth is, anybody can be an opera singer if you choose to train in it and want to do it.
Even you,
Anybody
Kevin.
of any size.
That's what I'm talking about, John. That's the kind of encouragement I need.
You gonna turn Mustache Island into an opera?
So I am working on this children. We may have to talk behind the scenes, some Melissa, because your energy is so on point with a project that I'm doing. Though you're very busy, but I'm doing a children's music project that I'm trying to launch, where I've created a character for myself who lives on this island called Mustache Island. His name is Ranger Gouda. It's very music involved, and I'm always. I haven't launched it yet, so I'm kind of in the looking for collaborators, trying to find. But anyways, at the very least, it's fun to share that with you, because you seem like an appreciator of that kind of work. So
heck yeah, that sounds so fun.
Yeah. So when we need an opera singer guest on my kid's show, you're gonna get a call.
That's so fun. Oh my gosh.
I'm sure you have more to say about this answer, and what I'll say is, I went and saw some of your videos on Instagram and whatnot, and I didn't know that you were 5'2", but you're right. You produce such a sound. It's very amazing, and even in this moment, a few moments ago, when it's like, wow, yeah, the technique is what it takes, and it's clear you're very well practiced, even though it looks effortless. Like, you're able to make that sound. So to your point, it definitely does not matter the size. It's the skill and the technique. Yeah,
exactly. And that little bit that I just sang, what we call marking, which is like making not a lot of sound, because I didn't want to break the microphone. I need to go in the other room to not break the microphone.
I figured. Yeah, it wasn't even the tip of the iceberg, I'm sure.
Yeah. But just a little bit of history on this. So the Vox Ring Cycle is based on the same mythology that Lord of the Rings is based on. So if you're familiar with that, you're familiar with this. Wow. It is a 4 opera long cycle, all of which are quite lengthy, and the last of which is called Götterdämmerung, and it is notoriously long. And so this is where this phrase originates, is, finally, after hours and hours and hours of Wagnerian mythology, Brunhilde comes out with her big spear and her Viking Valkyrie helmet and sings this eternal finale. And this is where the phrase, "Oh, okay, the fat lady has sung, it is now over." And, often to great relief, because it is fabulous, but it's like 6 hours long. And that's the last of 4 parts. Like it's eternal.
Yep. Yep. So it's a welcome sight when the fat Viking lady comes out and starts
It
to sing.
is. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
and that's pretty amazing. I'm sure there, well, I guess I'm not going to answer this for you, but I would wonder if there is a certain frustration that is very, that is what people conjure up. But I also wonder if just the mere fact that something like that exists in culture so prominently is something that maybe helps at least put the opera on the map in some ways. I don't know. Is it complicated feelings or is it pretty straightforward?
Yeah, I would say it's very mixed because clearly I've learned throughout my life and through talking to people, people are aware that opera exists, but basically know nothing about it except these stereotypes. And I think that oftentimes the way that it's perpetuated in popular media makes it scary to people and off-putting to people, and it's not portrayed in a way that it's like, no, this is for everyone, like not just for rich old people. Like opera is for everyone. It's accessible to everyone, and there is something for everyone. There's, you've got your really colorful classic magic flutes, your traviatas if you want something like that, but there also are these incredible contemporary operas, and there's small companies everywhere. It's not super expensive to go to the opera. You don't have to dress up in a tuxedo and an evening gown. Like that's old news. You can show up in a t-shirt and jeans and we're happy that you're there. Really.
But I can wear an evening gown if I so
Yes.
decide to.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
right.
Listen, I will say, I think one of my favorite things I have ever seen is I was attending, I don't remember what, some show at the Metropolitan Opera. And there was this young girl there on like tutu, just like extra, just absolutely hilarious and just like living her best life. I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
We don't care what you wear. Live your best life. Come enjoy the opera. Check.
Well,
yes.
Well, and you're talking about, it's for everyone. I mean, and I think at least here in the Midwest, probably some. And musicals are the same way. If if you're a guy and you enjoy musicals or operas, then there's a stereotype to that. But one way that I would always get guys into musicals is with Paint Your Wagon, because it's got Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin in it.
Oh,
like two of the most manly actors from back in the day. Like, how can you not watch a movie with Lee Marvin and Clint Eastwood in it?
Yeah.
And it's a fantastically funny movie and musical.
Yeah.
If you've never seen it.
I
mean, it ends up like there's tunnels being, bored under a town, and then it rains a bunch and a bull falls down into the tunnels and like starts destroying the town. It's
Well, that's good that you're able to guide people of all genders and ages and whatnot. I like the idea of breaking down barriers, and I think men should, if the stereotype still exists of men being too macho to go to musicals,
right.
Like, dude, we're in 2022. Like, it shows some emotion. That's I don't have to say much more. I love what you've said about operas, and I love the idea that there's so much storytelling and emotion, and that's something that as a man, I'm proud to say, like, I want to experience that. I want to, even when you were describing the ceasefire, I was feeling emotional just from like your description of it. And so to kind of envision that kind of community and that moment, that powerful moment. So,
well, I mean, and like, depending on the, if you're going to a concert, depending on the band that you're seeing, like, I've not really listened to a whole lot of Coheed and Cambria, but from my understanding, each one of their albums is a story.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So if you're going to, one of their concerts and they're doing the album, that's essentially a musical.
You're taking it in. That's
really
great.
is.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah. All right. So did you have anything else on that specific topic of the fat lady singing? Make sure we didn't cut you off. It's not true. That's the big takeaway. And
but at the same time, there are.
Yeah. It really
there are.
is.
It's yeah.
It really is just that, just like everything else in life, like people who look like everything can and do these things.
Yeah, you've broken stereotypes. You've educated on just what opera is in general, what it isn't. We're gonna get Tony Stark glasses in the work. Like, we've got new ideas going.
I love it.
I've kind of already said it. I don't want to pour it on too thick, but you've been an excellent ambassador for your art form, and we so appreciate you for coming on. A couple questions about you is like, where can we find you digitally, and where can people maybe see you perform down the line in the future? What's coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. So complicated, long list. So if you want specifically my opera stuff, you can Google my name, Rocca, ALISSAROCA. My website is alissarocca.com, and I have my YouTube channel under the same name where I've got some videos of performances that are older than I'd like to admit now, since, we haven't been able to do anything for several years.
I know. Yeah.
All over social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Divatron9000, which is also my Twitch handle, because I do too many things, stream on Twitch, and I do a plethora of things on there. Mostly gaming. Sometimes we sing. I do voice acting, and you can see the Furbies on there. Same thing, twitch.tv/Divatron9000. If you
That's what the people wanted, the Furbies. That's what I was like waiting for you to get to the Furbies, because that's what people are here for.
Listen, same.
It's a shame you don't do any rock, because then you could be Alyssa Rock and Rolla.
Oh, Rockarola.
We can arrange this if you want.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's in the works.
But yeah, if you're interested in, also, if you want to contact me for any reason, for singing, for lessons, for voiceover, for anything, shameless self-promo, there is a contact link on my website if anyone is interested. Also, again, I'm so easy to find on socials. I am, in a month from now, if you're listening currently, in April of 2022, I'm singing with Opera on the James in Lynchburg, Virginia, which is really fun. We're doing some kids touring shows and also some big concerts at the historic theater there. But then also my company, Paradox Opera, which we're at Paradox Opera on all socials, website coming soon. We're working on producing our first show for July of 2022. We're going to be doing a small North American tour in person, but also am going to be producing audience as well. So that'll be our Twitch channels, and there'll be info on our social media. It's a production I'm calling COVID Chronicles, and we're just gonna. I've got a group. Two other singers, myself, and an incredible pianist, that together we're creating this show that's sort of going through the journey of our COVID experiences and our community's COVID experiences, and hoping to have a fun, funny, but also cathartic experience, detoxing from this.
Well, definitely let us know if you're in Indiana.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you...
I don't know that we're going to get that far. I'm not sure. I hope so. We're currently based in the Triangle in North Carolina, in the Raleigh area.
Okay.
I think probably the closest to you we're going to get is Texas. But if you want to come down to Texas, we're definitely going to be there.
Yeah, well, I think it's great that you have a virtual version of that you're going to put on as well, so that people who aren't in the regions that you're going to will be able to see you. But we will certainly share all of your information on our socials and whatnot. We are just so grateful that you've come on, and you're now a friend of our show, and we will gladly support you in your endeavors. I think what you're doing is fantastic. So keep going. Very inspiring. Very inspiring.
Thanks for giving me yet another stage to scream about how cool opera is.
Yes.
No problem.
Scream away. Well, follow her on everything. Paradox Operas. Congratulations on getting that launched and on getting this opera going. And Alyssa, you're our newest logger friend. Thanks for being here, and we so appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been such a delight.
Good.
Awesome. All right, we'll be back next week, John. Oh, wait, by the way, what do we do? We tied 4 for 5.
Yeah. Yep, we both tied.
Yeah.
We are both. I think we both.
Y'all did good.
That's refrigerator-worthy work right there. I'm gonna pin that thing up, man. That's great. All right, so everybody wins today. This is great. Yep. All right, we'll be back next week to see how we do, and catch y'all later.
Yep.